or welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking on today's story time. Before we get into it, make sure you are subscribed, give this video a thumbs up, and leave me a comment down below, and turn on your post bell notifications so you're notified every time I make an upload. I'm going to hurry up and get this out because I'm just very overstimulated today, and I'm going to do my best to try not to get emotional while I record. Why is my screen door open? I need to put my phone down. I originally had like a whole different story planned to tell today, and I was gonna do that, and then life just happened, and I just feel like I'm at a point now where I'm tired of like sparing people's feelings and just suppressing the things that I want to talk about, because this person gonna feel away, that person gonna feel away. And my story times are never to bash people. I don't never turn on my camera, press record, and sit down in front with the intentions on bashing anyone. Anything that I've ever told y'all has always been things that have happened to me. Now, if somebody want to turn on their camera and tell their side, that's completely fine. That's your right to do so, just like it's my right to share my experiences and the things that I've gone through in my life. So with that being said, I'm not here to talk about my divorce. My ex's feelings aside, I just don't feel comfortable doing that. But I do want to share this story and just a proclaimer. This happened before we got married, but this changed the whole trajectory of our relationship. And after this happened, I should have just ended things, and I didn't. And I just want to be an example of, you cannot force things to work. You cannot manipulate things to work in your favor. You cannot twist and turn and force. You just can't. Like, the person that God has for you, you will have no questions, no doubts, no confusion, no nothing about that person. Like, you would just know, right? And my thing back then was, I was just so pressed to be in a relationship and just to show my ex, like my ex as in Sean, that like, yeah, you said that nobody else was gonna want me after you left me, and you traumatized me, and you scarred me, and all these things. You said nobody would ever want me, nobody would ever want the broken version of me. And I was just so pressed about showing him like, yes, I can move on and I can be happy. And that was a mistake on my end. But I'm just all over the place. I'm really overstimulated. But I'm trying to push through, because normal me would just be sad all day and push off recording to the next. Okay, like, I'm rambling. Let's just get into it. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna put it in the notes, I mean somewhere on the screen, to fast forward if you don't want to hear me rambling. But this happened. So this is story time about how I found out I got cheated on, in like the worst way. So this happened in 2016. So me and my ex, we started dating in 2015. Like I told y'all in past stories, if you're not new here, we started dating in 2015. We dated for about 3.5 months, and then I got broken up with the day after my birthday, because my ex decided being in a relationship was too much pressure. He'd never been in one before. He didn't have anything to compare it to. He didn't want to hurt me, blah, blah, blah. But in reality, he just wanted to go and have intercourse with a whole bunch of different girls without his conscience feeling guilty of him cheating, right? So we broke up in late August, like the day after my birthday. My birthday is August 21st. September, it was kind of still rocky. We're broken up, but we still was having intercourse, and it was, you know. And then October, it was completely no contact. We were blocked. Like, I had him blocked, he had me blocked. November, we were unblocked, started talking a little bit more, and by December, we were back together. So, just to give like some backstory and a little timeline. So, let's just say, because it was like the end of December, beginning of January. So let's just say January we got back together. Now, when I tell people the length of my relationship, I don't count that little breakup for like them little months. Like, I just don't count that. But we had been back together. So now we're in January of 2016. February, everything's fine. Mind you, we had talks about, you know, like what we wanted to do different this time in our relationship, things that I can work on, things that he can work on. Mind you, we're still very young, but I don't want to say like young as in like unaware and uneducated, because, you know, right is right and wrong is wrong, right? Let's hold people accountable where they need to be held accountable. January, February, March. Okay, March is a very important month. So within that time frame, so I really want to say the whole month of January, I was just unaware that he was unhappy, allegedly, with me. I stumbled somewhere. I still, to this day, couldn't tell you, because if you ask him, he would tell you, oh, it was a me thing, it was nothing on you. But it kind of just makes me feel some type of way that we got back together and we talked about all of these things like late December, early January, and you cried and I cried, and we told each other we were so in love and we were going to make this work and da da da. And then like a couple weeks later, yeah, so in February, it was presented to me that he wanted to go on a guy's trip for spring break. Now, the people that he used to hang out with, not all, but majority of the guys he used to hang out with in college, in undergrad, were just not good people. They would cheat on their girlfriends. They would dog girls out. They just weren't ideally who I would want my significant other to be in the company of. But you're a grown man, you could do what you want to do, and these were people that you knew before I came into the picture. So who am I to tell you to stop hanging out with these people because I feel like they have bad characteristics just because I'm your girlfriend? So I was not happy about the guy's trip. And just a little reference, the very first video that I ever put on my channel, the very first video about how me and my old friend, what did I call her? Monica, almost got jumped at PCB. My ex was at PCB. Like, we took those trips together but separate. Like, I was with Monica and he was with his friends, but we were in the same place at the same exact time. I really want y'all to understand this. So and mind you, he's not communicating anything's wrong. He's not communicating to me that he's unhappy. He's not communicating to me that I'm doing anything that he doesn't like. There's just like, I'm thinking we're going to sleep and waking up every single night and you're happy and our relationship is flourishing, and I'm so glad that we got back together and we got like a second chance to do this, right? So I just had like intuition. And I really just want y'all to understand that this is going on top of the girls that he was dealing with while we were broken up for those little bit of months. We're dealing with that too. We're dealing with the stalker. We're dealing with, what I call her? Melinda. We're dealing with her. We're dealing with a couple other girls who, oh, they just got caught off guard because he just popped back up on social media back with his ex, and they thought they had something going on. Like, we're dealing with a lot. I'm dealing with soul ties from all of these girls. Like, it's just a lot. It's a lot. And at the time, I was just willing to put up with it for whatever reason. I don't know. I don't have an excuse for myself. But I put up with it. So, I don't know. Call it my intuition. Call it my gift. I don't know. For whatever reason, when he just started talking about this guy's trip, I just felt like an energy shift. And I'm the type of person, like, it's like I can't ignore stuff like that. Like, I'm an empath. Like, I feel it with like every fiber of my being, especially somebody that like I'm giving myself to and like I'm dedicated to and like I'm in love with. Like, I know you know what I'm saying? So it's like when that shifts, I can't just like brush that under the rug. So, and I don't do this anymore. I never want to feel like I have to check a man's phone. Like, I like, even people that like I've dealt with like years and years later, like this one time this guy I was talking to, he left his phone in the car and it was unlocked. Y'all, I kid y'all not, I could have went through it. I could have seen everything I needed to see. I kid you not, I locked that boy's phone and I turned it over and I just told myself, no. Whatever needs to be revealed to me will be revealed to me. I don't want to go looking for anything. So I was not like that back then though, when I was with my ex. So I go through his phone and I'm not looking for girls. I'm not looking for picture. I'm not looking for nothing. I go straight to that group chat with all the guys who were supposed to be going on this trip. And lo and behold, my ex is in there talking about, oh, he can't wait to get away from me. He can't wait to go on this trip. He needs to make sure that he has rubbers. Just all type of stuff. Like, I can't wait. I cannot wait to get away from my girl. Like, y'all don't understand. Like, I'm gonna go down here. I'm gonna have fun. I'm gonna do me. Is what he's saying, right? And mind you, he like, yeah, we both go, because at this time when I originally found out that he was going on a guy's trip, I wanted us to spend spring break together, like all of our friends. Like, some of us were in couples, some of us weren't, but I wanted to, actually, I'm lying. The whole apartment, remember I told y'all I lived with him and 3 other roommates? Everybody was in relationships. Everybody was in relationships. Everybody, because I remember for that Valentine's Day that year, we all went out. We went out to eat and we went to an amusement park. I remember that. Everybody was in relationships. So it was just, I can't remember if I saw these messages before. It had to be before, because I feel like, and this happened so long ago, y'all, I feel like it caused an argument and he kind of like reassured me that like, oh, he was just like talking, like, you know, like how his friends are. He would never, like, he's not going down there to do anything. Whatever. And then that's when I decided, oh, I don't trust that. I'm gonna go to PCB2. And he hated that. He was so mad at me. It caused another argument, like a really like bad blow up argument. And he felt like, why are you following me? You don't trust me. And that should have been my red flag to exit the relationship, because once you start doing stuff like that, like if the trust is broken, what is the point in being together? This is me with my full frontal lobe developed, y'all. Like, I'm like, what, 20 at the time? Like 21? I can't even remember how old I was. 21 at the time, like, whatever. So long story short, the trip still ends up happening, obviously, or I wouldn't be telling this story, right? He ends up going on the trip. Me and Monica leave a day before him and his friends, and they get there the day after, whatever. Now, I'm trying my best to just let him do his thing. Now, I'm thinking, you know, like, even though you don't want to be like hip to hip with me and like arm to arm and me be all up on you, breathing down your neck, you would at least think you want to like lay eyes on me at least once while we're here. Like, we were there for like a good amount of days, like 4 or 5 days. You would think you want to like lay eyes on me. Maybe one morning we can go get breakfast. Like, I remember after that situation had happened with those girls, in my first story time, I remember I had called him and he was just so irritated because like I was blowing him up and he wasn't answering me. And I remember like he just finally answered the phone, and I told him like, you know, like I'm flustered, I'm overstimulated. He was just basically like, oh, well, like I don't know what to tell you, like I can't be of much help, like we're out, we're busy, like we're riding scooters around town, like I don't know what you want me to do. And I just felt like this little, like I felt like that big. So not too much on the trip, not so much that I can say. The trip happened, the trip came, the trip left. The trip came, the trip went. me and Monica got back earlier than they did, obviously, because they went later. And then when I say that, we got back on the same day. It's just we got back like that morning and they got back like later on that evening. And I just remembered, like, that evening, mind you, the incident happened the night before, not even a whole 24 hours before. I just remembered he came home and we had like the best ever, like ever. And it kind of confused me because I'm like, we were just beefing and you were ignoring me and you didn't want to see me, and then you just came home and just hunched me like the way that you just did. So it kind of like I was happy, but it confused me. So fast forward again, that happened in March. A whole 2.5, not 2.5 months, probably like what, like 4 weeks plus a week, so like a whole like 9 weeks have went by. Okay, I don't know anything. I'm asking him what happened on the trip, and he told me the worst that he did was dance on a girl, like he caught a dance from a girl in the club. And of course that broke my heart, because like, why are you catching dances from girls and you in a relationship? Like, I don't even play like that, even at my big grown age. Like right now, don't you ever think you finna bend it over in front of my man and throw your booty back on him. But okay, so we kind of like dealt with that, and I felt some type of way, but I'm like, okay, if that's the worst that he did, no, I don't like the fact that we were in the same place and I wasn't seeing you how I wanted to or whatever, but okay, like I'll just chalk it up to L and just keep it moving, right? Mind you, these whole 9 weeks, I love you, I'm so in love with you, you're a great girl, you're a great girlfriend, I'm so glad we're together, just all of these things. And he's knowing that he's sitting on this information, laying next to me every single night for weeks, knowing that I'm thinking that all you did was catch a dance from a girl. So back when me and my ex was together for the summer, he would go back home because he's from up north. We were in school, we are in Florida. He would go back up north for like a month or two, not a month or two, like a month, go see his family, go be with his family, and that's what he was doing. So he went back home, and now we're kind of short-term long distance, but that's fine because I know he's coming back. And I'm still at the apartment because I'm working, and I had moved out of my other place by then, or I think I was like in the works of like getting my stuff and like putting it into storage or whatever. And it's just me, so my ex is gone, but remember I said everybody else is in relationships, so all of the other people who are there, they're there. Basically all the girls had fake moved in at this point. I think I was the only one that was like there like consistently, but like everybody was in relationships minus Daryl and Monica, because by this point they had broken up. So one day we were all just talking. I remember like something was going on Twitter with like my university. It was like something going on Twitter, and one of his roommate's girlfriends was in our room, and I remember she was sitting on the bed, she was talking to me. Something I cannot remember how this was brought up, what brought it, like I really do not remember, y'all. This happened so long ago. I just remember the important parts of the conversation, but it was something along the lines of, yeah girl, like do you think we're like foolish for staying with them? Like do you think like we're foolish? Like do you think we're dumb or something like that? And I'm like, what are you talking about? And she's like, you know, like the stuff that happened in Panama. So I'm like, girl, what are you talking about? Like, stupid. Like, why would I leave my man for dancing on a girl? And it got quiet. So I was like, what? So she was like, dancing on a girl? I said, yeah. So now y'all know I got anxiety disorder, so my heart, she probably saw that bit beating out of my chest. Y'all know I don't got no titties, so the sternum is just there. She probably saw my heart just beating out of my chest. So I sat up. I remember this distinctively. I was laying down under the covers. She was sitting on the edge of the bed. We was just all cozied up. And I sat up and I said, what are you talking about? And she said, Lauren, they, like, I'm not gonna say my ex name, y'all know his name, insert ex name, cheated. Like, he cheated. I said, dancing, like, no, I don't want my man doing that. Dancing is not cheating, though. I mean, like, it maybe it is like a form of, but that's not like cheating. She said, no, he had relations with a girl in the club bathroom, like their last night there. Y'all, when I tell you, I can't even remember like all the emotions that I felt in this moment, because it was just like, it was like, remember I told y'all that one time, like the first time I had that edible, and when I closed my eyes, I saw every single cartoon that I had ever seen before in my life. It was like that, but I was picturing, when I closed my eyes, every single boyfriend, which before Devin, it was only Sean, and like maybe you could count like my relationship in high school, but like I was just thinking about all the bad things that guys had did to me, and like Sean was at the top of the list because that was like the most recent. So I just had a flood of flashbacks of like me finding out him cheating, me confronting him about him cheating, girls coming up to me, like it was like a time machine, and I just saw everything like I blacked. And I just remember I just started crying, but it wasn't like a boohoo cry, like I was just looking at her with like a dead look in my eyes, but I felt the tears running down my face. And she was just like sitting there, like I think she was like rubbing my leg or like rubbing my thigh. She was like, you didn't know? And I couldn't say anything. So I just remember I told her like I have to call him. So she was like, you know, like I'm in the other room, like whatever. And I can only imagine she went to go tell the roommate. And just I'm gonna just pause right here for a second, because remember the story time that I told y'all about how one of my ex's roommates like didn't respect my boundaries and he was using my stuff. And remember I told y'all that argument that they were having, and his roommate said, you better get your girl before I tell her the stuff that like she don't know. And then my ex tried to like play it off. That's what he was talking about. And y'all, that had happened like a whole month or so. Like that happened weeks ago. So it's like everybody in this apartment knew but me. I felt so played. So after that, I just remembered, mind you, it's a time difference. We're like an hour ahead, I think, and it was already pretty late. It was probably like 1 or 2 in the morning, and I know he had stopped texting me, so I had just assumed that he was asleep, but I was blowing his phone up. I was calling, FaceTiming, calling, FaceTiming, calling, FaceTiming. And of course he's not answering because he's asleep. And I just remember I just was sending him letters, like long paragraphs. Like, I can't believe you would do this to me. I can't believe you did this to me. You didn't get checked. You did, like, remember I told y'all that day that he came, he had intercourse with this girl, this random girl in the club bathroom the night before. And then came and turned around and had intercourse with me with no protection. Like, you didn't care about my emotional well-being. You didn't care about my mental well-being. You didn't care about the trauma that I had endured from my past. You didn't care about my sexual health. You didn't care about anything. And you let that go on. And just like a little, my bad, I didn't want my camera to turn off. Just like a little TMI, I know my body. And I know I was only doing the do with one person. Literally, me and my ex have never, ever used any type of protection. The only form of contraception that we had was me taking birth control. Literally. We had never. So it's like, you know your body, and you know the person that you're dealing with. And I know I'm not out here cheating. So whenever he came back, and then like a couple weeks like after that, my pH is thrown off. I don't have the knowledge that I have now to know, okay, it's something going on that I need to like look into, because I know what I'm doing with my body and I know my lady parts. Like, it's just like hindsight is always 20/20, right? So I'm blowing him up, and I just remember I cried myself to sleep. I was tossing and turning. I remember I had to get up and go to work that next morning. And he finally called me after he woke up and was bombarded with all of these texts. I'm pretty sure his roommates told him like, hey, my girl just told your girl what happened. So yeah. I just remember like I was like really numb after that. He called me. He was crying, y'all. He called me and he was crying and he was just very apologetic, and I just kept saying like, I can't believe you. Like, I cannot believe you. Like, my ex is not a bad person, and I'm never gonna get up on this camera and kick it to y'all like he is, because he's not. He's just not my person. And I just feel like in that moment why am I gonna cry? I just feel like in that moment I wasn't strong enough to choose me over a man. I wasn't strong enough. My son be knowing when I be sad, y'all. It's so cute. I'm okay, but thank you. I wasn't strong enough to choose myself in that moment. That should have been where I ended things and healed from that trauma. But I didn't. You want to know why? Because, oh, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm not gonna, well, I was gonna say I'm not gonna put his business out there, but like it's a part of the timeline. So I just remember he was crying, like boo-hoo crying, and he told me he wanted to do something when his dad left for work. And I was just like, why are you saying these things? Like, I was so confused because I never imagined him doing me like that. Like, I never imagined the person that I allowed myself to fall in love with after the absolute worst relationship I have ever been in my whole life. The guy who I thought was helping me pick up the pieces and heal a broken heart that he didn't break, would go and add on to the trauma. And it's not even, for me personally, it's not even about the cheating itself, like the act itself. It's the premeditation. It's you knew what you were gonna do. You planned for this. You took, proper measures to take protection and do it. Like, that rewired my brain. That changed who I was just as a person, just not as a girlfriend, but just as a person. And I feel like I have never been the same girl. Like, getting older, wiser, more mature. Just that day, that night that I found that out, I was never the same after that. Literally, never the same. So I couldn't even really process my emotions, because the day after that, he had a death in his family, and I felt like I had to be there for him. So I had to put my emotions and my feelings towards the situation on pause to make sure that he's okay. And from there, it just never got talked about, really. It didn't get brought up again until like a year later, and it was on some stuff like, oh, that happened a year ago, why are you still tripping about it? And it's just like, well, I'm not healed properly from it, so I have to talk about it. And if you don't talk about it with me, then who am I gonna talk about it to? So what was I was about to say something else. Oh, when he came back that summer, like a month later, however long it was that he had left up north, he came back, and I went through his phone because I told him I wanted to go through his phone. He had grouped me on there, and he was, y'all, it was disgusting. Don't ever go through a man's phone unless you're able to stomach what you're gonna find. Like, don't ever go looking for anything and then get mad when you find what you're looking for, because you set yourself up for that. Like, I was disgusted. I didn't even know who he was. Like, how are you able to lay next to me and look me in my eyes every night and tell me that you love me and you're in love with me, and you're doing this? He was just, I'm not gonna even get into the details of like what he was saying to these girls. Just know it was on some, I'm texting all these girls, and whoever bite back first, that's who got me for the night. Like, I was just very disgusted. And I didn't want to tell this story for the longest time because I didn't want y'all to look at my ex in a negative light, but this is my truth, and this is what happened to me. And I'm not trying to victimize myself or nothing, because I wasn't the perfect partner all of these years. I wasn't the perfect wife all of those years. Like, and I just felt like when my ex proposed to me, he kind of felt like that was a way to just erase all of the mistakes and that huge mistake. And for me, like, I just should not have gotten married. I shouldn't have. And I'm gonna just keep it a buck with you. Like, I should not have said yes. I should not have said I do. I thought in my heart of hearts that maybe one day I would just wake up one day and be over all of the trauma, and I would just stop thinking about it, and I would let my past and the things that were done to me stop holding me captive in my mind. But that's not how healing works. And something that I learned after I got a divorce was that, like, healing is a journey. And like, some days you wake up and you're good, and some days you wake up and you're wondering why you feel all of these heavy emotions, because it's like grieving, bro. Like, after my papa died, I know I told y'all I wasn't the same when that was done to me, like the day that I found out, the night that I found out. But after my grandfather died, that really, it was like just up for me. And I just learned how to deal with my grief while still living, like not get over it, because I'm never going to be over that. I'm never, ever, ever going to get over that. I've just learned how to deal with it while I'm still alive. So, yeah, that happened, and just a whole bunch of other things in our relationship and in our marriage happened to where I just felt like I can't be beneficial to you as a wife while I'm still carrying these things, and I'm nobody to tell you to wait for me or let me heal and still stay on the side. While, like, I just wanted to have my own space to heal and to grieve and to process my trauma without somebody looking over my shoulder asking me, when am I going to be over it? Because that's what I felt like for years of our marriage. When are you going to be over this cheating situation? When are you going to be over this girl stalking me and trying to ruin our relationship? When are you going to be over all the other girls that I had sex with while we were broken up and they're still trying to affect our life? Like, when are you going to be over? When are you going to be over it? Like, so, yeah, that's my truth. And it is what it is. Again, I'm not trying to bash my ex. I need to take my son outside, y'all. We about to go outside, baby. Give me 1 second. I'm not here to bash my ex or anything. It is what it is. It's very unfortunate that all of this came at the price of, like, all of my 20s. But it is what it is. Son, it's okay, y'all. I'm gonna have to go ahead and end this because he really got to go to the bathroom. But yeah, that's what happened. So that's the time I found out I got cheated on, child. But yeah, y'all, if you don't take anything else from me, if you don't listen to any other advice from me or nothing, just don't force things. The person that's for you, it'll be easy. It'll be light. It won't be heavy. Like, you'll just know. Like, you'll recognize it. You don't have to question it. And I'm not saying that y'all won't have struggles. Y'all won't have fights. Y'all won't go through the ringer, because nobody is perfect. But it's just about finding your person and willing to go through that stuff with. Like, somebody had told me one time, like, oh, I hope you don't think that just because you got a divorce, the next guy that you get with is gonna be easy breezy. No, I didn't get a divorce thinking, oh, the grass is green on the other side, or, oh, I'm not gonna have issues with my next husband. Like, no, I don't think like that. Like, it's not about that for me. It was just that didn't serve me any benefit or any purpose anymore in my life. So I had to let it go. And no. Why is the door getting pushed open? That's for nobody to sit here and scrutinize or judge. This is my life. I do what I want to do. But yeah, so I feel like I'm about to start rambling again. So if you made it to the end of the video, thank you so much. I'm sorry that this wasn't like super duper drama filled like how y'all like. I'll be back next week with a juicier story time. But it was just on my heart to share this for whatever reason. So I just wanted to. Don't forget to subscribe before you get off if you haven't done so already. If you don't do nothing else, at least give this video a thumbs up, please. Leave me a comment down below. Turn on your post bell notifications, and if you want to join the membership, click the link in the description box to do so, because they get early access to all my videos and extra content all throughout the month. And I'm gonna see y'all later. Say bye. He like, girl, please. Bye, y'all.